Hi, I'm Mark with At My Home, and today we're going to take a look at the eufyCam S4. Actually, we're going to look at the 2-cam kit. It also comes in a 4-cam kit, and you can get it individually. Eufy sent us this for the review. All right, let's take a look. Now, when you open it, you got to be careful. This is not the top. So flip this open. That way your camera doesn't fall out. So it comes with 2 cameras. One I've already installed. So here's one of the cameras. Notice it's pretty good size, right? It comes with an S380 home base. This is really kind of cool. Which also includes a bay, so you can put a hard drive in it or an SSD in it. Right, which is really nice. And this is really cool because you can actually record to this. Comes with the directions. Comes with some stickers for mounting, which I've already used one. Comes with the eufy security sticker for the window. And a couple other positioning stickers. The nice thing about this system is it comes with not just the cameras, but also solar panels to keep it charged. So one of them, of course, is installed already in the camera outdoors, but here is another one. So nice big solar panel to really make sure it gets charged up well. And then a whole bunch of things to go for mounting. Cables, Ethernet cable for hooking up the home base to your router if you want, although it does work wirelessly. This is the mounting bracket to mount the camera with. It's really kind of nice and heavy duty. Comes with 2 of those, by the way, and it comes with 2 of these, which is for mounting up the solar panel, and the power brick for the home base S380. A whole bunch of screws, and just something about the screws that's really important. There's a bag with hard drive screws, so if you do put a hard drive inside of here, you can mount it on. These little screws are needed. And then there's another one here, which is the mounting screws for the solar panel. And then the ones that aren't labeled is for mounting the bracket. All right, so just be careful when you're doing this to make sure that you understand which package is what. But 2 of everything. All right, so that's what comes in the box. 2 cameras, all the gear to mount it up, the home base, and 2 solar panels. First thing I want to do is show you the battery in it. It's really big. There's a little capture screw in here. You see how it's spring loaded? I actually have it unscrewed right now, so it's easy to remove. When you take off the battery, you would think you'd pull up on this, but you don't. You actually push to the side, and that's how you remove the cover. And then in here is a really big rechargeable battery. So this is really kind of a difference that I haven't seen before in the eufy cameras, so I kind of like that. But basically you just take it, it mounts in here, put the cover back on, tighten down the screw, and you're all set. Now the camera itself, it moves, right? So the whole base moves. So when you mount it, because what you're going to do is you're going to mount it on here like this. And the really cool thing is these little screws here are spring mounted. So after you mount this wherever you're going to put it, and then you put this on like this, when you put the screws in to hold it in place, they're spring loaded, so you don't have to worry about dropping them and losing them, which if you're mounting them outdoors, the odds are high you're going to lose them if they're not captured. So this is kind of a nice feature they give you. On the top, there's holes here for mounting the solar panel. And if you want, you can mount the solar panel elsewhere and then use these extension cords to go ahead and mount the solar panel elsewhere. I have ours mounted with this thing on here because of where we have it. It works out perfectly. On the back, there's a place to plug in the USB-C if you want to charge it up before you get going. The sync buttons here for connecting it up. And then there's another port over here for future expansion. In the front, there's 2 sets of cameras. So one is a fixed camera. Now you kind of adjust it up and down, but basically it's one camera lens. It's a 4K camera with a 130-degree field of view, and it has a PIR sensor to detect motion. The bottom camera is a PTZ camera, tilts and pans and all that good stuff. It is only a 2K camera, but it actually has 2 lenses, a 1X lens and a 3X lens. So when you combine those 2 together, they claim it has what's called an 8X hybrid zoom. It's basically taking the 2K 3 times zoom and the 4K up there, and somehow magically in their algorithms, they make it into an 8X hybrid zoom. But the big thing on here is, aside from the lights, they actually have a radar detector on here. And that's really important when you look at how it gets used. So imagine I've mounted this here outdoors, and what we wanted to be able to do was mounted in a place in the corner of our house where we have one path, which comes from our side gate towards the camera. And then we have another one, which is the path from the backyard towards the camera. So it's on this corner. And when I originally installed it, this is sitting on a fence. I mounted it with this at a 45-degree angle, figuring I'd catch both paths. And what we found was, when I first did it, I made sure that the PTZ was pointing at the same direction that the fixed camera was pointing at. And what I found was it wasn't really catching people really well, right? It took a while before it caught it. And what I discovered was that because this has radar on this part, if I took and rotated the PTZ to start position, pointing down towards the gate, which is a place where I really care about the most, the radar sensor picked the person up really early, the person being me, of course. And what I found was it really made a big difference as far as how well this is going to be used for security. So as you can see from the video, it catches me very early coming down that path. And then what it'll do is it'll catch me. And then when I round the corner, it'll actually track me along the way. Now, I sacrificed the path from the backyard towards the camera because that one is only being seen by the PIR sensor. So you'll have to make a decision on that. But it was really important to understand how the radar worked. The other thing is you can record in the daytime, of course, it's nice, but at night they actually have 3 modes. You can actually disable the lights on it, so it's basically just whatever the ambient light is. And it turned out it worked out pretty good because the ambient light for us, we actually have eufy path lights, and those path lights provide enough light where the camera actually looks pretty good. You also have IR mode. IR is excellent. And you can record in IR, and the other thing you can do is you can turn on spotlight. So these lights will come on and illuminate the scene. So those are the 3 things. So basically, day or night, this camera records really well. And in all cases, it picked me up early using the radar sensor and the PTZ. Keep in mind is you can record straight to the camera if you want by connecting this camera up through your router, or you can go to the home base, which we prefer because it has its own Wi-Fi in it. And of course, it'll record to here. And this comes with, I believe it's 16 gigabytes worth of internal storage, but you can put up to a 16 terabyte hard drive into this unit. So you always have room to record all your videos, and it makes playback a lot easier. So when it comes to motion detection, it will detect people, it'll detect pets, it'll detect vehicles, and of course you can set it to all motion, which we don't do because it'd be recording all the time. And what's nice about it is you've got 3 modes for recording. One is like 20 seconds, but it's short, right? Then the other mode it has is a 60-second mode where it'll record up to 60 seconds. And of course, if it sees the motion stop, it'll stop. And then the last mode they have is custom mode, which is really cool because it'll record up to 2 minutes. That's where this little box comes in handy. And that's really nice because maybe the motion stops if the person's still there, or whatever you're trying to capture is still there. So I've recorded in all 3 modes. I like the 2-minute mode. However, when you're trying to replay things, you're going to have a lot of dead time because it's going to see the motion is going to end, and then you're going to have a lot of dead space. But it doesn't matter because it's all saved up here on the drive. The other thing you can do with this is that if you actually plug the camera in, let's say you have the ability to plug this into a USB connector, you can actually set it up to record continuous. Both record continuous and actually do a pre-roll on the motion as well. So that's kind of a nice feature. The other thing this camera will do is it will take snapshots, and that doesn't have to be plugged in for that. So that's kind of neat because then you can see it's happened in these different time intervals, and you can adjust that time interval. That is the eufyCam S4, in this case the 2-cam kit that comes with the S380 home base. It's really nice. Thank you for watching.